Hey, y'all, and welcome to Trials to Triumphs. I'm Ashley Blaine Featherston Jenkins, but you can call me ABFJ. This week, Dancing with the Stars finalist and star of The Bachelorette, Charity Lawson talks to me about the magic of opportunity. 2023 was a big year for Charity. She kicked off the year as a contestant on The Bachelor, met her fiancé while starring on The Bachelorette, and wrapped up the year as a Dancing with the Stars finalist. Charity's life looks drastically different today, and it's all because she had a vision, took a leap of faith, and seized the opportunities that came her way.
My vision board for last year had so much of everything that I accomplished in 2023. I did not see it happening, but I put it on the vision board and I was like, you know what? Let's dream big. Here we are.
Hi, Charity. Welcome to the pod.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, here's the deal. This is what you need to know.
I love a good deal.
Okay. So Daryl, my husband, and I,
Yes.
we're fairly new in Bachelor Nation, I'd say. Given how long the show's been on, we've been watching for maybe like 3 or 4 seasons.
Okay.
But when we saw that there was going to be a Black Bachelorette, we were like, oh, this is the event of a lifetime. Like
it truly is.
We
it
were
comes
like
every blue moon.
right, Charity. But I just want you to know, I say all that to say that, like,
yeah,
you hooked us. Dotton hooked us.
Mm-hmm.
It was so beautiful to see you, this smart, open, vulnerable, ambitious, ready for love Black woman, really get her shot at love, and like to watch it and to have you allow us to come on the journey with you, which we will get into because I know it's not easy.
Come on.
I just want you to know like how grateful I am. We are, I'll speak on behalf of my husband too, but like it was so beautiful to watch your journey. And I just truly fell in love with you too. And I'm so excited to, as I say to all my guests, get to know you better and share you with our listeners, because I truly think that you're a gem. So I'm so grateful you're here. I'm so happy you said yes. And I'm excited to chat.
Thank you. That means so much, honestly, coming from you, but just everyone who tells me that. Obviously, walking into something like this, you don't know what to expect. And I've seen the show, but I was like, I think I counted myself out, and I will talk about that like in detail. But it's just like I didn't know if it was going to like work out or if this was like really meant for me. But for my season to just have the same sentiments from so many people and everyone kind of feel the same way really is a testament to just like me and Dotton's love story, but also what I brought to the table. And I'm just grateful to have shared that with you guys. So
yes, what I brought to the table. That's the energy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know what you brought to ABC? We know what you brought to ABC. We're not confused.
We're not. We are not over here.
We are not confused. That's the energy. Okay. Well, I want to start, Charity, with some icebreaker questions. Are you down?
Okay. Oh, I love.
Okay. So what's on your vision board for this year? Do you do vision boards? Are you a vision board girl?
I do. And this is so funny because me and Dotton, I like got him into it. But mine is still in work. But it takes me a while because I've just been so busy. But when I say like, this is a crazy thing to even talk about, but my vision board for last year had so much of everything that I accomplished in 2023. So I was like, when I tell you like vision boards for me, like manifesting and praying over them, like I was like, oh, we're not missing out on this. So you're going to make a vision board and I'm going to make a vision board too. But for me, it's more like ambitious of just like where I see myself, like career wise, like kind of changing that. But still like being in like, I was a therapist beforehand. So like still kind of like having ways to connect like what I'm in this new space now and like what my former like career looked like. So kind of combining the two. I am really all about health and wellness this year. Like I really got to get like my diet on track and just wanting to like really like work out a lot more. Like Dancing with the Stars taught me a lot about just like taking care of your body. So I have everything health and wellness, traveling. I mean, when I say we got destinations that we will be marking off this year, we will be traveling. So it's all the things, but yeah.
Wow.
Love, of course.
I was actually going to ask, like, the follow-up question. You kind of almost answered it, but what was something from your vision board last year that, like, you can share that, like, really manifested, other than, like, Dotun, I'm assuming, but, like, like, we know that manifested. But is there something else that was, like, really clear on your vision board that you're like, oh my gosh, that came to pass?
I hope this doesn't sound shallow, but obviously, like, when I was on The Bachelor, I just had roses. So I didn't have like the idea of like bachelorette. Like I said, I did not know like that was going to happen for me, but I just had like a bouquet of roses, whether that was like, okay, from a guy or from whoever, like my new relationship or just myself, whatever that looked like. But when I say like that was like almost like in a way symbolic of like those roses were like, this is now your journey to the bachelorette.
That's wild.
Yes. And then also I just had like, okay, I'm a big dreamer. I literally had a red carpet. And when I say like this year was just the years of like being at award shows or just like being at, the variety, like things, Barbie premiere, like that was like a dream come true for me, knowing me and like growing up, like loving Barbie, like being at those, like in those spaces. I was just like, this is crazy. Cause I did not see it happening, but I put it on the vision board and I was like, you know what? Let's dream big. Here we are.
Here we are. Okay, Charity, let's start at the beginning. What did Columbus, Georgia give you?
Oof, so much. So yeah, starting at the beginning. So I obviously grew up in Columbus, Georgia, but before that, my dad was in the military. So up until like I think like second grade, I was like traveling a lot, but a lot of that I don't really remember. But just I do like understand like components of military life and what that would look like. And I think that did kind of influence me a little bit at a very young age to be like, oh, like seeing exposure to like different things and different cultures and like different races and all of that. So although I was young, like I was open to that. And then once I got to Columbus, obviously being in the South, it was like kind of like a little bit different. Not in a bad way, but like, I guess it's just very sheltered and it's a small town, very populated, but a small town. So I knew a lot of people. My family like knows a lot of people. And it was one of those things where I was like, there has to be more to life. But I was really grateful for all of my like experiences. I went to very great schools. My parents were very like hard on us in a good way about like our education and just, wanting the best for us. But growing up there, I obviously am very family oriented. So I love my family, but I was like, okay, now it's time to go to college. And I went to Auburn. So that was not far. SEC obviously was really big for us. And once I stayed there, I was like, okay, I'm going to get my master's, stayed there. But when I say Columbus, like, I don't know, like I'm trying not to like talk bad about it, but it's just like, it's a small town. So like, I guess what it taught me was that there is more to life, but like these small town upbringings are what I held on to, like being now like in the spaces that I talk about of just like what my parents instilled in me growing up. And I have to like contribute a lot of that to my parents, not necessarily like the city or the town, but yeah, I mean, I guess we can get more specific. That was kind of like rambling and broad.
No. That was great. The whole time you were talking, Charity, I just kept thinking, it's the epitome of like a small town girl with big dreams. And I think that sometimes when you come from a small Southern town, especially, I think it's a little different in the South, even if you come from a small town, but in other parts of the country, they give different things, but there's something specific about the South that, you can go one of two ways, right? You either go the way where you're comfortable with that and you really embrace the small town life, or you say there's something about you as you're growing up and as you're evolving and as you're growing that realizes that you're a little too big for the space. And there's something about you that needs to break out and explore. And clearly that's what you did, but it doesn't take away from it being your foundation.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
You're spot on. Yeah.
But you actually, I mean, You're really great at conversations because you already teed me up for my next question, which is, I loved seeing your parents on your season of The Bachelorette. It was one of my favorite moments, was seeing your parents, your family come and support you. And like the really real conversation you had with your Black mother,
who
was
so
like,
real.
Charity,
please.
I'm not going to tell you. I remember, I just got chills. I remember her saying, I'm paraphrasing, but basically she was like, Charity, I know you want me to tell you what to do, but I'm not going to. But what I got from it as another Black girl with a Black mom, I raised you to know how to trust yourself, how to trust your gut, your intuition, and to make good choices.
Correct.
And I know as your mother, I'm supposed to guide you, but this is too important of a decision in your life, and I can't give you the answer for it. And I also saw how frustrated you were. It was frustrating because
I was so frustrated. I was like, just give me something right now. Like, it doesn't have to be like just something. And I'll let you.
Because it doesn't matter how old we get. Sometimes we still just want our moms to fix it and make it right. But I think if that scene, if that moment taught me anything, it's that she did. Her response was exactly what you needed. You didn't see it. It didn't feel like that in the moment. No. But I think us watching knew like, her mom's right. Like, I know Charity's upset, but her mom's right. So I want to ask you, what is something that you can share with us that maybe your parents have imparted upon you in your childhood, a lesson, a moment that has always stayed with you and really shaped who Charity is?
Yeah. I mean, so many lessons. I mean, it really starts from birth. But like I said, just like growing up in, a Christian household, my mom was like, everything was like biblical and like not in a way where it was like bad, but it was like she was very on top of it because she knew what her life was like that before she became saved. And so she was like, I want to make sure that my kids are, trained up in the way that they should be and that they have everything that they have or need when they go out and be adults. And so I think, for me and my mom's relationship, like I kind of get emotional talking about it, but with like my relationship before like went on The Bachelorette, it was sorry.
No, take your time. It's okay. This is what it's about.
Yeah, it was just like a really, I think, learning moment for me. And I hate to say like this is a lesson that I learned so late, but I think like my mom wanted me to kind of have like a season of autonomy and a season for me to like do and make my own choices. Cause I think a lot of the times it's like, as much as we are like, oh, they're our parents and we're dependent on them, or like they are the ones that guide us, it can get to the point to where that becomes like something that we always resort to in life. And it's like always, and I know for me at least, like, family's everything, but then it's to the point where, you kind of do just like expect sometimes your parents to just make decisions and choices for you. But I think like going through like that heartbreak and like kind of having my mom to be like, I will just say she never said, I told you so, or she never like put that in my face.
Oof.
So
yes.
I
Yes.
Really grateful for her that in that way. But I think like once our relationship just kind of like got back to the point where my mom, motherly instincts, I think she knew like this person was just like not for me, but our relationship and what she just allowed me to like grow as a person and like always trusting myself and like basically what you said, just trusting that like she raised me the way that she knew and that I would always like eventually come back to that. So it was kind of like a full circle moment for me in that scene where I'm like, okay, I'm getting frustrated with you, but like, no, like we already went through this. Like we don't need to like do this again on national television. And so I think like that was the lesson that I had to like come to terms with is like, no. And like I talked about it so much on my season of just like trusting my gut and trusting my instinct. I would tell my mom this all the time, like even like in past relationships or when I knew something was off, like my mom when I tell you my mom's like discernment is so spot on, it's like crazy. It's almost like really scary, but like that's something that I took away and like I learned, and like I started to like trust myself, and like just how she would like tell me the things to like to look out for, and just like you would know, and like just trusting yourself. So I think like for me, it was like the big lesson is like trusting my gut and like having my ability to discern and not second guess myself, because I do know. And at the end of the day, like what's for me will be for me no matter what. And I think I learned that so much. Obviously doing all of this.
Oh,
so,
you knew who the choice was going to be, because we was all sitting there like, Charity. Now you know what you about to do.
It's so scary. You just get to that point and you're like, what is going on? That's why I needed my mom. I was so tired. I was like, this is like, I want this.
I can't imagine already. Charity. We'll get into it, but I literally cannot imagine. What about your dad? My
dad, my dad is an angel. He really is. And I tell Dotun this all the time, but he really is one of the most selfless individuals that I know. And I'm grateful that he's my dad. So like, I saw that at a very young age. Just the way my dad has an ability to sacrifice not only for his family, but I've seen like his relationship and like what he does for my mom, even when things aren't like, and I think that's the thing, is like knowing that relationships aren't always going to be like peachy and you know, sunshines, but like even in the hard moments, like, wow, this man is really still like giving himself. And like, that is like a testament to like why my parents have been married for so long. But just like seeing his ability to love. And I will say like, I developed my compassion and learning that through the lens of like just seeing my dad and his approach and how he navigates his relationships, his friendships, his like everything in life, like just how he moves as a person. He really is just the purest soul. And so I will say my lesson from my dad is just you know, giving and knowing that it'll come back to you tenfold. And tenfold has been it.
Tenfold.
So here we are.
Well, you know what? The whole time you were talking, it was making me think about Dotun. Like, what to me stood out about him in the season was just what basically what you just described about your father, is that you could tell he wasn't on a selfish solo journey. He truly always cared about you, what you were going through, how you were feeling, what was going on. He was able to express his feelings while also making space for yours. I saw that from day one, and it makes sense that you were so drawn to that, because that's how your dad is. So I love that even I can kind of see and make that connection.
Oh my God, you're spot on. We talked about it so many times, just like seeing similarities. And I'm like, it's crazy because he'll say that like how his mom, he was like, I never even thought it. He's like, but you're so similar to my mom in so many ways. And then I say, it's like, you're so similar to my dad. And it's weird how that works, but it is a thing. Like it definitely is. And he really is, like the whole season, even stuff that wasn't shown, just like what he would do behind the scenes, like it was just so pure. And I was like, oh my
there's
goodness,
like things that we don't even see.
I know.
It's a TV show. I'm in TV and I'm like, oh my God, yes, of course there's like deleted scenes or whatever.
Yeah. No, he just is. I was like, this is literally something that you can't make up, of just like how he was so thoughtful, or just even like conversations and like the most intense moments. Like, I mean, Fiji and fantasy suites, when there was so much going on, and he knew like his heart was on the line too, but he just kept reminding me, like, they all would say like, we're on your journey. And I'm like, it's so selfless to say that, but like, you know, me and my compassionate heart, I'm like, but it's you guys' journey too. But it's like, hold on, wait, let's give myself a moment and a beat. They're right. It is ultimately my journey, and it's okay for me to say that. But for him to like constantly like give me those reminders of just like, no matter what, like I want the best for you. So like,
and it felt genuine. Like that's what stood out. It felt extremely genuine.
So genuine.
Okay. Well, Charity, you are, you pursued a career or have a career in mental health, right? As a therapist. So I can imagine that being in the Bachelor universe, in the Bachelor world, the Bachelor Nation, that at times it can weigh on your mental health. So what I want to know is, in what ways did it? And how was handling the dichotomy of, I've studied this. I know what this is, but also I'm going through it in real time. How do I take care of myself?
Yeah. Fantastic question. This journey was insane to say the least. Beautiful journey, but when I say like I don't think my mental health has ever really been impacted this much in life, besides these past few months. It was a lot. It was a lot because I think when I take myself back as what I was as a contestant, it is vastly different than it is being a lead. And a lot of that is strictly just time. Like you have so much more time as a contestant to, like, when you're not on a date, you're sitting down, you're at the house, you have time to have conversations with like the friendships that you're building in the house, but also you have time for yourself. If you need to step away, you have time to journal. It's how you utilize that. But when I say that you really don't have time for that on the other side of it, it's a little scary. And for me, I think like I went into all of this and I was like, oh, like, okay, I've done the contestant side. It's going to be so easy, but like not ever realizing like, oh my goodness, like so much is going to be like drawn from me that I'm not going to have anything really left for myself. And I noticed that, especially like, I think after the first like week of filming, I was like, okay, like this is exciting. It's all exciting. And you're like kind of on this high, but then it's like, you start to notice, okay, like, wait, feelings are starting to come in, like you're starting to get invested in things. And for me, it's like I have to say it's a really dangerous place when I'm not able to reflect on like what I'm going through in the moment. Like I am a big journalist, or even if like I'm not journaling like a full like novel, I'm writing down like bullet points of like what happened in the day or like what I was feeling in this moment.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so when it came to that, like when I started noticing like relationships were getting really serious, I was like, okay, I need to dedicate time to journaling. And I had to tell the producers, I was like, I need like X amount of time at bare minimum before I do anything else like that's related to this show to like give to myself, because I'm telling you, if I don't do this, like it's just not, unfortunately, it's not going to end well. And like this is me being very transparent with you of just like my needs and what I need in this moment. So I made sure like I journaled. It was really just like I said, the time of just being pulled in so many different places and directions and having to like show up, constantly being on, but not in the sense of like, oh, I'm turning it on, but like just being like, you have to be like alive and well. You're like, you can't be asleep talking to like a contestant on this show.
No,
like, you have to be there. So like that was really hard. And it just felt like, when I just needed a beat, like that wasn't really like, a thing that was an option for me. So that was really hard, but I managed, and luckily, like the show, like the psychologists there are phenomenal. So like I developed just really great relationships.
Oh, that's
with them
amazing that there's people that are available and on hand. Oh, great.
I was like, I'm utilizing this. I know what I need in this moment. Because like not everyone is that like, self-aware to be like, okay, this is where I'm at. But I was like, so sorry. We will be doing this before I do this. Before I go on this day, I will be talking to like the psychologist. So yes. So that was like a big component. Very time consuming, draining, but also like the life after filming. And we all know social media is very dangerous. It was really
hard. Would you say overall, people were people more unkind or kind to you, Charity, would you say?
People were more kind, but it's also one of those things where it's like, no matter how many people are rooting for you, you obviously still have people. And I know that everyone's not going to like you. I'd never expected that, but it was like, it's one of those things where, and I hope this sounds not me like tooting my own horn, but it's almost like when people can't find something that's blatantly obviously wrong, or like you're doing something that's wrong, they will like start to attack things that like doesn't really make sense.
1000%.
And so I started to notice that was like a big thing for me of like, okay, this girl can do no wrong. What can we start like, digging and finding or attacking her on? And it started just becoming things like just character flaws that were just like not even true. Obviously like race was a big thing. And, I get like this fan base is very like conservative, but like, that's fine. But also it's just like one of those things, like we don't have to call those things out, I can't, we don't need to talk about it, but hello. That was like a thing. Just like body shaming of just like, oh, like, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous. So learning to navigate that. And then obviously once, filming my season stopped airing towards the end of just like people finally figuring out like who I was going to be with. It was really obviously a lot that like were supportive and they loved me and Dot's story, but there was a lot that was like really upset because I didn't choose their pick. And, and that's that. But it's also, again, a lot of me, I'm very protective of my relationship. So a lot of me choosing and trying to pick between which battles of like, I'm not going to fight this one, but like certain
Picking
ones
your
where
battles.
It's like, you're not going to call my fiance XYZ names and not be called out for it. So,
yeah. So, okay. So I want to know that, like, how do you decide? I'm assuming, Charity, that you went from being someone who like didn't have 1,000, mentions on social media every day, to someone who does. And so with that, how do you balance, like you said, wanting to defend who you are and your love and your partner and your family or whatever, but also being like, I don't need to entertain this because I will say, as someone who also is in the public eye, I've been faced with those choices too. Like, do I address this? It seems crazy not to, but then also I don't know these people. They don't know me. They're doing this because they're unhappy. I am happy. Like, so how have you kind of found the balance in that?
Yeah. So I will say, and this is a transparent moment in space. I was not good at that at the beginning. At the beginning, it was like full on like, how dare you speak about, and I really struggled so bad with that. I will be honest. It took a lot of like phone calls with like therapy and just talking it out and like kind of unpacking why that was like such a thing for me. And it is unfortunately like something I struggle with, like people pleasing. It's like, I want to be like, I want people to not have a negative outlook on me. Cause then I'm like, what did I do wrong to like basically invite that in or like to get that? And so it honestly came down to a conversation that me and Dot ended up having about like protecting this relationship and like not letting like outside things. And so I think that kind of in itself like allowed me to shift my perspective on it a little bit of like, okay, like for the sacredness of our relationship and protecting that, like this is not going to be something that I am constantly going to be engaging with online. Also out of respect for him, because now we are together and like what I do also potentially affects him and vice versa. So I think for me, it's just like over time, it became, I hate to say it, it's kind of bad, but it's like you kind of get used to it. I think because initially, like I've never been in this space before. I've never, like you said, I went from having 500 Instagram followers to like now like being, in a space where it's like you have so many and it's like these are people that are watching your every move and it's just strange. But I think once you like get enough exposure to it, it eventually gets to the point where you're just like not really bothered by it. But I think for me, like choosing what to respond to boiled down to just like, if like, I guess the intensity of it, like if it's something like that is like really like, okay, this is ridiculous and it makes no sense, then I would not like respond. But there were certain people that I just had like, they wouldn't stop. And so that became a thing where it's like, okay, either block and move on. And I love a good block. So there's that. I don't care about retaining the follower.
You all heard it here. She loves a good block. Don't mess with her.
And if you're blocked, so sorry to you. But yes.
Okay. So tell me, Charity, tell me about, I need to know the journey of how we got to be the Bachelorette. Oof. So talk to me about the moment when Charity was at home and was like, you know what? I think I'm going to apply to be on The Bachelor. And then what followed to the call or email or whatever you got to be the Bachelorette? We got to know the story. I have to know. Okay. I've been dying to know.
So the story is Trinity Lawson did not indeed apply. I did not ever apply. I never went to their site. I never, like, nothing. When I say I watched, like, Hannah Brown season, I watched like 3 seasons of this show, and I was like, okay, like, this is like such a funny show, but like never saw myself
I
being
love that you
on
said
it.
funny.
It is a comedy show. Like, if you really like a good lead and a good cast, it's comedy. Like, I'm sorry,
Charity, it's a drama with comedic elements. It's a
you.
dramedy. Because there's some moments I be on the floor like, oh no.
No, literally, I was like, okay, no, this is not for me. But like, I can continue to support. I can continue to watch.
Yeah.
So it was my last year. Yeah, my last year in grad school, like last few semesters, and I had just gotten out of like that awful relationship that I talked about, and I was dating around, and it was like, I mean, I guess it was going fair, but it was not like this. I was like, okay, I just have to finish grad school and then we'll figure out life after. But it was just like, you know, one of those periods where you're just having fun and you're going on dates, all of that. So my best friend, who I've been best friends with since like high school, she was so, like, a lot of my friends obviously were very grateful that I got out of that relationship and I was thriving afterwards. So they saw how well like I was doing. But my friend, my best friend at the time, or still is, I think she just really wanted just so much more for me. And like kind of what we talked about at the beginning of like what I saw in myself, she was like one of the one friends that always like saw that for me too. She's like, you're just destined for so much more.
I call those, Charity, destiny advocates. People who remind us of our destinies when sometimes we just can't see it for ourselves. That's people like your best friend. That's what she is to you.
And that is literally her. So she literally said that, and I was like, okay. And I remember one day we were on the phone and she like casually brought it up. Like, keep in mind, I'm in the middle of grad school, so I don't have time to like from my head to be thinking about any of all of this. She's like, I'm going to like nominate you for The Bachelor. And I was like, no, you're not. And I was like, you absolutely will not be doing that. And she was like, okay. And like the conversation,
what does that mean, nominate for The Bachelor?
Right. So she was like, she going to submit an application. So
okay.
She actually did submit the application. So I thought like when she brought it up to me, I was like, she's just being funny. She's trying to like troll right now. And I was like, I'm not like, if you knew our relationship, you would get it and be like, okay, like she's just being like, you know, herself. So that was like in November, and I graduated in May, and when I say that was the only time we ever talked about it, it was ever brought up to me. I remember it was 2 weeks after I walked, after my graduation, and I'm packing up. I'm getting ready to like relocate, start my new career. I get a call from a California number, and it's a producer or a casting like producer for the show. And they're like, we got a nomination for you for The Bachelor. And I was like, hang tight. Like, wait a minute, because I didn't do this. So I'm thinking there's only one person. And I was like, I didn't know if it was real. I was like, is this like a scam? Like, I had no idea. So I was like, okay, before I respond back to the producer, I was like, let me circle back with her. So I texted her. I was like, did you submit an application for me for The Bachelor? She was like, yeah. And I was like, you never told me you submitted it. Like, what do you mean? Yeah. And so she was like, no, like I told you, like, I'm not playing around. Like when I said that you were like destined and I know that this is going to be like for you, like this is perfect timing for you before you start your career, all this. And I was like, okay. And like, she's like telling me all these nuggets and I'm like, wait, she might be right. But I'm like, I don't know. Like, I have no business being on this show. I have no business being on this show. So I'm like, do I do this? Like, I don't know. So I was like, okay. Well, I was like, well, they just reached out to me. So let me see what this is about. So the casting process is so long. It's so like extensive. So I was like, okay, I may not even get chosen. So I was like, let me just like go through this and see what is behind the scenes in all of this. So I do the whole like casting and flying out to LA, the interviews, doing all of that. And then I'm like, okay, like this is a really intense process. Like they do like everything to get these girls on the show. So I'm like, there's no way they're picking me, but like, it was fun. This was a cool experience. So I wrap it up. I'm in Paris for my other good friend's wedding. She's getting married. I'm having the time of my life overseas. I'm like, yay, international, having a blast. And then as soon as I land, I get like the call that you've been selected. And I'm like, like, what is my life right now? Like, I'm selected for what? And they're like, you've been selected. You're part of the new cast. Like, you leave in 2 weeks. I'm like, bingo, love this. I leave in 2 weeks. Didn't think that this was going to actually happen. So I actually was not preparing for it. I have 2 weeks to get like my wardrobe together, figure everything out. But like, I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh my goodness, like, I'm actually about to go on this show. Like, this is crazy. Like, this is full and crazy.
Wow.
So I tell my family everything, and they're like, what? Like, they're trying to figure out, is this still real? My dad's like, did you check to see that you're talking? And I'm like, Dad, I already went to LA and did all this. Like, it's real. So everyone's like freaking out. My friend, she's like so excited for me. And I leave. And then obviously the rest is truly history.
Okay, but so now, so fast forward, you're on The Bachelor.
Sorry, that was a lot. Yeah.
No. But then how do we get to be the Bachelorette?
Again. So how it works, they usually like just kind of have, I think, their like lineup maybe from the season, just how, the season goes, who might be a fan favorite, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And it's never just one or two girls. It's never that. They like interview so many of us. It's like at least like 7 of us that they interview. I don't know.
And are they interviewing you while you're on The Bachelor, or is this after, post-Bachelor?
No, so this is after. Yeah. Still trying to process like what my experience was like on The Bachelor and like coming to terms with that. So then I'm like, they're like, we just really really loved you, blah, blah, blah. And like, would you be open? And I'm like, I don't like open for what? And I'm like, okay. And I hate to say this, but this is where I say, like, when I say I didn't think it was going to happen for me. And we know, like, with the history of the show, it's just one of those things. I'm like, I don't know. Like, am I just meeting quota for them? Like, am I like, are they just interviewing because I was like one of the ones that made it to this point? Like, like I had no full real like understanding of like, why are they like interviewing me? Like, what did they love about me? And so like, when I remember like going in and like talking to them about like my journey and my time, I was like, no, for me, like, finding love is like something that's so serious. And like, I know it works. It has worked, but like, is it going to work for me? I don't know. Like, I really don't know. So it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want to say I'm a hopeless romantic, but like, I'm also optimistic when it comes to like opportunities. Like when opportunities are granted to me, it's like, it's not something that I just like kind of bypass over. Like they're granted to me for a reason. And so like, I think I had to just like, kind of like firmly like tell them that and be like, if this was supposed to be for me, like I'm 100% certain that I will find like my person. Like I fully do believe that, just because of also who I am as a person and how I date, and like I date with purpose. This is not like a TV show for me. Like luckily you guys are filming it, but it's not a TV show. Like this is my life. This is serious. And so after doing the interview and all that, you hear nothing. Like it's just one of those things again, when you just like, it's whatever, like it's a waiting game. And so you move on with your life. And that's exactly what I did. I was like, okay, well, life has to still go on. Like I have to like still go to work, do this and all this. So really getting acclimated at this time. I was in Charlotte, getting acclimated to everything and about to start like my new job. And that was when Women Tell All for Zach's season was. And so we obviously, like everyone who isn't in the final 3 was there. And yeah, it's just like, filming the reunion. I had no idea that they were going to approach me at the end and ask. Like, they don't tell you, like, oh, you've been selected, so act surprised. Like, it's none of that. Like, it's very all real, raw, organic.
Wow.
And after we filmed the show, they said that we were doing some game for social media. And I was like, okay, they're always doing something. So, like, it was a great excuse because in my head, I'm not thinking anything different. I'm like, oh, I'm about to go film a game with Jesse Palmer. This is super fun. And so I remember being in that room and I'm just like talking away. He comes in and then we're playing this or that, the game you saw. And at the end, when he was like, Bachelor in Paradise or Bachelorette. And I remember they didn't put this part in the clip because I was like, Bachelor in Paradise is messy. So I was like, definitely not for me. So then I was like, probably Bachelorette if I had to choose. And so then in that moment, I think I was like, that's a funny question to like ask me. So then like, before he could really, get like, are you sure? I was like, starting to like put the two and two together. I was like, is this like them asking me or is this like a sick joke? I don't know what's happening. And then like, that's when Jesse was like, well, I'm glad you said that because we want in, of course, Waterworks. And so that is how that came to be.
Wow. I love that story. And you were the perfect Bachelorette, Charity.
Thank you.
Really, 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 really are.
Thank you.
How are you in Dotton? I know you guys have a wedding coming up in 2025?
We do. We're doing great. We just moved to New York, so we're in Brooklyn.
Ooh,
I know.
Okay.
I was like, he done brought the Southern girl up north.
I love that. Look at y'all.
No, we're doing really good. We're like, just obviously it's like really exciting now to have some sense of normalcy and like live a life, because I have went from one show to another, Dancing with the Stars. And so he's just happy to be back in New York. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be like building and creating a life, like, all of this. So we're doing really good. There's lots to look forward to. So we're just taking it day by day, but obviously always prioritizing each other.
I love that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Charity, what has been your takeaway from our conversation today?
What has been my takeaway? I will say, like, talking, obviously, first of all, I want to say thank you again for having me, because you were just so easy to talk to and you're so like just vibrant. But I will say for me, like, just sharing my experiences and just what I've gone through in the past few months and what to look forward to. I will just say, like, I think we might be on the same page of just like, obviously it's a very cliche statement, but for me, like, really learning to maximizing and living life to its fullest.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, like, with what this past year has taught me, with so many like highs and lows in combination with that, like, it still doesn't take away from like just the concept of like having the ability to live life to the fullest, and for me to like take advantage of that every single day. And so I think obviously the gift of life is something that's just like beautiful, and it's so important, and it's not something to take advantage of. But yeah, I don't know, I guess that's my biggest takeaway from like this conversation, and in my plans of moving forward with so much more that's going to come in 2024.
Well, thank you for your kind words, Charity. I received that and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
My takeaway is two, really. Just you truly are as lovely as you were on your season of The Bachelorette. Like, you are exactly who you said you are. You're incredibly authentic, and that's really refreshing. My other takeaway is the magic of opportunity. I think really a lot of our conversation has involved how opportunity came your way that you didn't necessarily expect, but you said yes. And although maybe you didn't expect it, you had people in your life who did. Yeah. And that is everything. Oftentimes that can be the difference between one feeling that they lead a life full of successes and someone who feels like they don't. It's so I'm really taken by that you've had such opportunity in just even the span of a year. You know what I mean? So I am excited not only to embrace opportunities that I know are coming my way, but to continue to celebrate and champion the ones that are going to continue to come your way. Absolutely. So thank you so much, Charity. I think you're a gem. And I'm so grateful to know you. I'm so proud of you. And I'm really excited for all that's to come.
Thank you so much. You were just a breath of fresh air, and that means a lot. So thank you for having me. It was so fun.
We did it. Thank you for saying yes, Charity. Woo!
Of course.
Thank you for listening. This podcast is produced by LWC Studios for OWN. The show's executive producer is Juleka Lantigua. Our managing producer is Fatima El-Swifi. Shanice Tyndall is our lead producer. Jordan Thompson is our marketing coordinator. This episode was mixed by Trin Lightburn. Michelle Baker is our video editor. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, and we hope you did, please make sure to subscribe, leave a rating, and review wherever you listen to your podcast to ensure you hear the next one.